So I swapped over the base of the headset onto this fork. I've not cut it yet. I don't know if I want to, but so let's just see if we can do this without cutting it. Just for this experiment. It might look a little weird, but this is all for science. This is all for science and engineering. This piece goes on. In fact, I want to make sure, get a little bit of grease on here. There's a little bit of a rubber seal in here that needs to be replaced every once in a while, so it helps to keep water out of the headset bearings. Just put that on there. There we go. Should slide down. Ah. Wow. Dang. It's tight. Okay. Put a little bit of grease on here just to get it to slide down better. By the way, I'm supporting the fork with my legs, so I'm not pushing down on the frame in the rack here. I know there's some people out there that will get angry if they see me doing such things as I just did. The other problem I think I'm going to have is getting this on top of here. Yes, so maybe what I should have done is put this on first. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I could get some slack on the brake cable. Okay, there we go. All right, that might help. No, got those hooked up. I don't want to disconnect those. Okay, so we'll have to lower this back down. Next, note to self, next time we'll do it like this. Okay. That'll work. And since we're not going to have a compression plug, we're just not going to have a compression plug. Loose. This is what I love about these brakes. They're so simple to set up. Okay. Then what we do here is we route this cable. Alright. Oh, just barely. That's pretty good. Now let's go ahead and squeeze that. This is just too simple. Omar, you are wrong. This is too complicated. Okay. All right, now I'm going to put this down, put some pressure on it, and tighten up the stem. Since I don't have a compression plug, and we definitely don't want to go over the bars today. Okay, so let's see, where are we at on this guy here? Alright, so the fork is in, and just out of curiosity, I grabbed my mountain bike wheel with the, this is a disc brake wheel, obviously. This is not a disc brake fork, but the reason I put this in here is I wanted to see what would be the theoretical maximum tire size. So what I have here, this is an old Specialized Fast Track non-tubeless tire. It's a 29 by 2.0, and it does fit. There's very little clearance between the brake and the knobs, so you know, maybe a lower profile knob would actually, this would actually work somewhat well. Maybe not well in the mud when you get a lot of mud on here, but this tire does fit, and I took it for a spin down the road, so I know it works. But it is too big, and I don't think I would want to run a tire this size with these brakes. So let's put the 40 mil tire back on. We've already seen what the 28, or we've already seen what the 48 millimeter knobby tire looks like when we were over at John's. But let's go ahead and put the 40 on, and let's take it out for a little spin and just see how well this bike and this brake setup works. Also, you might want to know how well the tire goes on between the brakes here, and it goes in pretty fine. It goes in just fine. There's no rubbing, and it goes right in. Even with the tire inflated, there's no, you know, I'm doing this one-handed holding the camera, so you can see it's fine. It works. Once it's in, then there's this cool little lever here. You just push this down, and then it somehow kind of locks, sort of locks in here. I don't know. It doesn't seem to stay locked, but it doesn't open when you're braking. Alright, here it is with the 44 millimeter Compass or Renaers Snoqualmie Pass tires, and you can get a sense here, there's quite a bit of clearance between the tires. Brakes work really well, so let's go take it for a ride. Alrighty, well, first impressions are it's working. It's a little awkward, I have to say, riding with this death tube sticking up like that. But looking past that point and just how it rides and how are the brakes working, Feels pretty good, actually. They brake a lot like traditional caliper brakes. They feel about the same. There's a little more of a squish in the lever than the other brake levers. You know, there's a little more flex. And actually, when I look down, I can kind of see the brake caliper flexing when I am braking. So they don't feel as stiff, but the actual stopping distance feels very, very much the same. So, but we're gonna keep riding. Can't make any decisions yet. Okay, so it is now the following morning, and I'm out here on this descent that I like to use as a test to see how these brakes will work. This descent here has roughly sort of a couple mile descent, but it has lots of 18% gradients. So I'm gonna put this on my helmet here. So I've got the camera mounted here onto the helmet, and this descent is about 1,000 feet, and it has several sections over 18%. So I think this will be a great spot to test out these brakes. I've already done a few descents just to make sure everything is working well. I also trimmed down the steer tube a little bit more so it's not sticking up so high in case of an accident or something. So let's head down and try it. made it. We survived this ride today. It was 31 miles and about 3,200 feet of climbing. So I don't know if this audio is going to come in good. We're going to head back to the house where I am going to download all of my thoughts on these brakes, the tires, the fork, and what my decision is going to be going forward on this next custom steel bike. Alright, as you can see, I just took the fork out, and the reason I'm doing that is because I am going to take the fork back to John and have him braze on the center pole posts here. So I've ridden this bike, I put 3 different rides on it. I did a couple of different courses where I was riding down steep hills, and so I think I got a good chance to check out these long reach caliper brakes. And I want to tell you a little bit about my experience with them and why I am going to go to center poles. And it is not because these brakes were not good enough. These brakes actually were excellent. They felt nearly identical to the performance you would get with a brake like this. And note that this has the black brake pad compound on here, so generally not as grippy as the Salmon. And still, I would say that overall, these brakes felt really, really good. And if this bike that I was building didn't have the clearance for as wide of a tire as this will be able to fit, I would go ahead and stick with these. But since I'm building this bike to accommodate a larger tire, I want to maximize tire clearance. And so I think center pole brakes just provide that extra tire size. So in summary, if I were building a more of a road bike that was going to be built around a wider tire, like a 38 to a 40 millimeter tire, I would go with something like this. And I would have the fork size so that the pads were somewhere in the middle of the slot. And I think these would make a great road bike brake. I think it would make a great road bike in general, one that fits tires that size, a 700 by 38 or a 40 or a 44, like the tires that I was riding. These are 44s. They do measure out to 40 on this rim, and so I think this is a great road bike size tire and a great long distance bike, a great touring bike size tire, especially if you do a lot of pavement, a lot of rough pavement, and a little bit of off-road. So I think this was a fun experiment, and it really helped me kind of see how brakes like this work. They do work quite well, and all things being equal with this or a short reach, I can't see why you would be losing out on anything by going to a longer reach brake caliper. It just didn't seem to make much of a difference, and braking was good. So anyway, I'm going to head over to John's now and take back this fork and see if he can put on some center pole braze-ons. And then we will be talking next about the bike frame itself and how it's being designed and some of the choices that I'll be making on that bike frame. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.